Hi everyone, this is Josh Hurdle, the coordinator of Coulee, and I'm here with Kevin Jones and Barb Jones, and we're going to talk about this year's micro game for the con. It's called the River Run game, and we're going to first start out just having a general description about the different cards that you can find out in the community. These are placed at different gaming stores all around the region, La Crosse, Eau Claire, Rochester, and other places as well. So we'll start off with, there are four different kinds of cards. There are 3 cards that are location cards, and then there's 1 card that is a tug and barge card. All the cards have the same back, which is our little con advertisement. I'm just going to go through and talk about the different cards themselves. So the tugboat and barges, you can see there that the card has it's got pick up, move, deliver, replenish, river runs. That is the turn order, the phase order. And then there are 4 spaces to put goods on. So the number you see on the space, that's the movement of the tugboat and barge when there is nothing on it. So if it's just empty, you can move 12. If you put 1 good on, you can now move 10. And so you can put up to 4 goods onto these things. And if you put all 4 on, your movement is 6. Alright, the location cards, let me zoom out here. The location cards, we've got Winona Dock, La Crosse Dock, and Prairie du Chien Dock. So each of them have similar features. Let me maybe just zoom in on La Crosse Dock here. So we've got, each location produces a good, so you can see that La Crosse here produces quarry goods. And then each of them also has an exchange rate. So if you bring the manufactured goods here, that's what the little bolts represent, you deliver 2 to this dock and you get to keep 1. If you bring corn to this dock, you deliver 3, you get to keep 1. The very bottom of the card is just showing you that at the end of the game, every quarry good that you have is worth 4 victory points. And so the 3 different ports are very similar in that they each have this setup. They each produce, for instance, let me go to the Winona Dock. It produces these machine goods. It, though, has a different exchange rate. So here you can deliver 3 quarry goods, you get to keep 1. You deliver 2 grain, you get to keep 1. It also has a note that each of the machine goods is worth 5 points at the end. And the last card, Prairie du Chien, produces grain, and you deliver 3 machine goods, you get to keep 2. You deliver 2 quarry goods, you get to keep 1. So the basic play of the game then is going to be, each player is going to have these their own tug and barge, and they're going to be moving between these ports, picking up goods at some ports and then delivering them at others. Alright, so now we're going to transition and we're going to have Kevin and Barb talk about game setup and actually play through the game itself.
Okay, so I'm going to grab these commodities right here. These cards come equipped with some commodities and then have a replenishment base of commodities that we will use to replenish those cards. In addition, we've got these cards set out for movement purposes. We're going to shuffle those up.
So if I'm just going to jump in. So there are 5 grain goods and 2 extras. There are 4 quarry goods and 2 extras, and there are 3 machine goods and 2 extras. And then what was the breakdown of the specific playing cards that you've got?
There's 1 5, 2 4s, 4 3s, 4 2s, and I believe 2 1s.
Okay,
2 aces.
Okay.
The ace is treated as a 1. We're going to play as basically simultaneous. If for starting location, choosing a starting location, it would be the player who was last on the Mississippi River. Otherwise, if that is a tie, it would be the youngest of those players. So Barb is younger than myself, so she'll go first in placing her tugboat and barge.
So and again, the phase, the whole phase, the turn is all described on the tugboat card. And Kevin is going to talk about the river mechanic.
Okay, these cards here represent movement, and the traveling speed on your tugboat and barge is determined by how much commodities you are transporting. So if you're transporting 2 commodities, your speed is reduced to 8. So you can travel a maximum of 8 down the river. Additionally, if you pull into a dock, that costs 1 additional movement to pull into the dock. And you want to be able to pull into docks to be able to transact goods. So on my turn, simultaneous play, so we're going to simultaneously choose our commodities, and then we're going to simultaneously move down the river. Now I can only move to here because I have a movement of 8. So that would be 5 plus 3. I do not have an additional movement to pull into dock. Barb was able to move her 3 plus 1 to dock in La Crosse. All right, so we've docked. So now Barb has docked, so she can go ahead and deliver goods. And she's going to deliver her industrial goods. She keeps 1, and the other goes back to the replenishment pile. The next portion of this is board cleanup. We're going to have replenishment, which means each of these docks gets 1 additional commodity added to them if there are commodities remaining. Furthermore, we have the river run. So this goes out of play, and the river just moseys on down, just like so. Got a little rapid in there, and we flip over the top card, and then we continue on with the next round of play.
So we've got a couple of mechanics here. So there's an exchange rate that happens at each port, and it's different for each port. And then at the end of the turn, the river moves. So sometimes it's going to be more difficult to get through some sections of the river than others. So you're kind of having to deal with that piece.
Okay, round 2. We would go ahead and pick up if you're at a port. And so Barb is picking up quarry goods. And then we can move. I'm going to go ahead and continue down and dock at Prairie du Chien. Barb is traveling upriver and docking at Winona. And then we could go ahead and deliver our goods. I've got 2 stones, so I'm going to bank 1 stone, and then 1 stone goes back to the supply. Okay, next we go ahead and replenish goods. So we've got our goods on the docks, and then we've got the river running. And this game plays in 8 rounds. You're going to have 2 additional cards left over at the end of the game, so you never know if you're going to get a 5 or if you're going to get a 1 left out of the game. And that's how the game is played.
So at the end of the game, you will have each collected some amount of different goods in front of you. And all you do then to figure out the scores is just figure out how much each is worth, which is listed on each of the cards. So the corn, the grain is worth 3, the quarry goods are worth 4, and then the machine goods or the industrial goods are worth 5. So it's really a game about figuring out, first off, given the river conditions, where you can go, and then how many goods you should load in that respect to figure out, can I get down to Prairie du Chien? Because some of these ports are a 2-for-1, and others are a 3-for-1, and then Prairie du Chien's got the 3-for-2 on the industrial goods. And so is it worth it to try to get down there for the 3-for-2?